Top 10 running backs for 2024. No break, no hesitation. Here we are, and we're kicking around the big dogs, the running back stable for 2024. Is it Christian McCaffrey? Who's going Kyron Williams? Who's going Jahmyr Gibbs? Who's going Breece Hall? Don't tell me wide receivers are the only valuable first-round pick. Only will take CMC. You hear that from a bunch of Monday morning Morgans. But best player available is the only way to draft. The only way. If anybody tells you, oh, don't take a wide receiver, Smitty, you really should only take one RB for the first round. It's just the smarter. You're drafting a position, Bob. You draft a position, I'll draft a player. Top 10 running back ranking video. It begins right now.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com studios, it's the Fantasy Football Show.
Okay, it's pretty easy to put McCaffrey number one. Much will be determined by how healthy he can remain the rest of the NFL playoffs, because this man just injured his calf walking at a week number 17, and we don't know how that's all going to turn out. If this calf injury doesn't turn out to be anything significant, if McCaffrey can go through the entirety of the 2024 NFL playoffs without any sort of injury or setback or being on the shelf, I believe we will exit 2024 with McCaffrey as the clear 1.1 in 2024 drafts and the running back one overall. However, and have an open mind to the different scenarios that we have sitting right in front of our face, it's injured McCaffrey or healthy McCaffrey. McCaffrey's 27 turning 28. 28 is the final hurrah for fantasy football running backs to deliver elite fantasy football production. We're not talking about 31-year-old Mosterts that revitalized their career, get a bunch of work at an older age with no mileage. We're talking about workhorse running backs that have done it from the beginning of their entry point into the NFL. They've been workhorses the entire way. Players in that position, Todd Gurley's, Austin Eckler, Christian McCaffrey, these are running backs that have been getting volume like crazy. Top 5 volume good enough to make them a top 5 running back is insane volume. So that's the kind of workload they've gotten in mileage every single year over year. That running back has a shelf life up to 28 years old. Now, the elite players can play well at the age of 28. Derrick Henry's the one and only outlier. I would not use him as any sort of path that's been paved for other running backs. He is not going to be somebody to look to try and find out, okay, actually, maybe this running back can do well at 29. Not when you've had volume your entire career to the tune of a top 5 to 10 running back. That kind of volume breaks you by the time you turn 29 years old. So McCaffrey, if he exits 2024 NFL playoff territory without any sort of major injury, or this calf injury doesn't linger, and calf injuries are pretty concerning in today's NFL. It's crazy how this stuff kind of happens. It's like we have the ACL, wave of ACLs, we have a wave of this, a wave of that. Now we're having a wave of calf injuries, and then a lot of times an Achilles tear can follow that, especially with an older player. So it's a concern, like no doubt about it. You're concerned about it. But if, and this is the caveat, this is the risk of doing a video before we even see the playoffs, unfold, the 2024 NFL playoffs. If he exits completely healthy and tears it up, let's say the Niners go to the Super Bowl, he has an amazing playoff run, he will be the 1.1 and the number 1 running back for everybody across the board. If something else happens, let's not even go down that road. If he gets injured, if he doesn't, finish the playoffs healthy, whatever, we will address it at that point. But for now, Christian McCaffrey is going to sit atop the running back rankings.
Number 2.
I want to say Jahmyr Gibbs is that guy. I want to say Kyron's that guy. We badly wish it was Bijan, but it's not. And we don't know the details of Arthur Smith's firing or not firing. We'll find that out. That'll clearly give Bijan a huge bump for 2024, but there will be a lot of people that still are not buying in. So Bijan, no matter what, I believe will be some sort of discounted player value walking into 2024. But how much of a discount, how many people are off the train is going to be determined whether Arthur Smith is in place for 2024. If Arthur Smith is in place in 2024 still in Atlanta, I honestly believe that the majority, like 80% of the fantasy football population, and for good reason, will doubt Bijan to the point where no one even knows what he's worth. Nobody knows. Nobody will know. Hard to say there's even a value territory anywhere. Like, we have no clue, but I have to believe that the fantasy gods will grace us with one final gift of Arthur Smith being removed from the starting job in Atlanta, and therefore we will see Bijan vault to the tune of a top 5-6 running back in most people's minds, but we will see a lot of people doubt enough to keep his value low, hence he'll be a good value no matter what in 2024. But we can't put him here. We can't. There's no way you can put him in with the top boys. And our boy
Reese's Pieces, baby.
Breece Hall, doing a haul of a job, is 100% in the conversation of running back 2. I think it's between these three guys right here. I don't think there's really any other player in my mind anyway. There's a lot of great players you can see behind here that deserve to be in this conversation. But at the end of the day, it comes down to Kyren Williams, Jahmyr Gibbs, and Breece Hall for running back 2. Really, running back 2, 3, and 4. We could almost do this in one shot. The logical call for me right now feels like Kyren, because the volume is 1,000% guaranteed. But that isn't to say that his volume won't be there with Aaron Rodgers back. If Aaron Rodgers is fully healthy, I do think that's kind of a concern, just until we feel like Aaron Rodgers is 100%, that we worry about game script still maybe holding him back, because without that quarterback in play, it's very one-dimensional. Hall was able to do it, deliver top 3 to 4 running back numbers in sum total at the end of the year. Just what an unbelievable finish for Breece Hall. Come on. Mashed potatoes! I mean, really, what a beast. What a beast. He just, God, he did it. He did it, didn't he? He did it. So proud of him. He made the show so proud. But I think, like, at this moment in time, like right now, not knowing what's going to happen with Aaron Rodgers, and we assume it's going to all go well, it feels like this guy has the most clear path, Kyren Williams, to be the clear 2. That is not to say I don't love Gibbs just as much. That is not to say I don't love Breece Hall just as much. To be frank, I could put all three of them side by side by side. Like, I could do that without a hesitation, without any sort of, like, equivocation, without any sort of explanation of who's 1, 2, 3 in this pecking order. So McCaffrey 1. Hell, I could even put every single one of these guys number 1 overall. That's the truth. If you've got a top 4 pick, I don't think we're sitting here going, oh, we go wide receiver early. I won't take any running back in the first round. That type of thinking, I think, is out the window for 2024, because you're looking at 4 players, including McCaffrey, 4 running backs, mind you, that are clear 1 overall capable players. So if someone says, I won't take an RB in round 1, why? Why? What did the wide receiver do for you this year? Where were you at? Did you not remember that? Goodness gracious, man. You had JJ go down. You had Cooper Kupp go down. You had Jamar Chase go down. You had Joe Burrow go down for Jamar Chase. Wide receivers aren't safe in the first round. Even Hill kind of left you hanging at the end of the year, getting injured and not playing well in the final week. Don't tell me wide receivers are the only valuable first round pick. Only will take CMC. You hear that from a bunch of Monday morning Morgans or a magazine Mel who goes in and just says, well, I've read before by 3 or 4 content creators that wide receiver is the only way to go. You know what the only way to go is? Drafting the best mother-freaking player at every single pick. Best player available, BPA. Nothing is better than BPA. Nothing. I don't care what position you tend to feel is best player available. That is a good way to look at it. Yeah, I kind of feel like best player available tends to be wide receiver in this territory, Smitty. Then yeah, you are leaning wide receiver in that territory. But best player available is the only way to draft. The only way. If anybody tells you, oh, don't take a wide receiver, Smitty, you really should only take 1 RB in for the first round. It's just the smarter. You're drafting a position, Bob. You're drafting a position. I'll tell you what, you draft a position, I'll draft a player. And there's nothing wrong with McCaffrey, Kyren, Gibbs, or Hall at 1, 2, 3, or 4 overall. In fact, nobody's safe. Wide receivers weren't safe last year, up and down the top 5 overall. Running backs weren't safe last year, tight ends weren't safe, and quarterbacks certainly weren't. safe at all. So there is no safe position. Even kickers got injured in 2023. We're rolling with who we believe are the best players, win on the clock, best player available. Now, to be honest with you, the more I even talk about it, the more I feel like this is a three-way tie. I truly believe it's a three-way tie. And as bad of a feeling that is when I'm making a ranking video and I can't even on my own show come up with a 2, 3, and 4 ranking. I really do want to give a second place trophy to everyone on this left side of the screen. And I don't feel bad about it. I don't. And I don't even know that, I seriously don't know that I can rank these 3. If you made me, I'd say probably Kyren right now. That could change with the NFL playoffs and everything that unfolds. Gibbs is unreal. Monty's still there, but I don't know that I'm concerned about that at all. I mean, we shouldn't be, right? But this guy delivered the numbers. The numbers were there. He kept doing it. He probably will continue to do it over and over. The volume is not a concern. We've got Aaron Rodgers. We've seen some inconsistent usage. There's a little bit more of what you could say like a proven red flag that has gone away, but we've seen it rear its ugly head. So like that's why Breece doesn't rank above Kyren yet. And the same thing with Gibbs. We've seen, the usage be dependent on a couple of different things. Kyren just gets the ball. You know what I mean? That's why I probably say Kyren is the 2. Let's settle that. 1, 2. We're going to lock it in very, very, loosely because, again, as I just ranted about, who's 3? Who's number 4? I think here's where I will leave you with the good old tie. The little tie-a-roo. I just don't think there's a good way to quantify one player's upside or negatives, if you will, versus the other. We have so much changing for Breece Hall with Aaron Rodgers coming back. We can't look at his offense the same at all. And if Hall did what he did without Aaron Rodgers, imagine what he'll do with Aaron Rodgers. And if Gibbs did what he did as a rookie, sharing a lot of work and being in a position of like getting unleashed, in a slow fashion, imagine what he'll do now that he gets, more experience under his belt. I think they're both almost freaking dead even. These are your 3 and 4 overall running backs. Your one's McCaffrey, but by a hair. And again, injury could determine that that's not the case walking out of the 2024 NFL playoffs. We have to see how healthy he is coming out of the 2024 end of the playoffs and see what's what. Kyren, the number 2. And Dynasty's top 5 still. 23 years old. Ziggy, how old is Kyren Williams?
Kyren Williams is 23 years old and was born on August 26, 2000.
Ziggy off. 23 years old. 23 years old. Dynasty is a top 4 overall player. Like, Kyren doesn't go anywhere in Dynasty versus redraft. This is an unbelievable top 4. Really unbelievable 2 to 3 to 4 overall running back territory, because I do think, if we're talking Dynasty for a second, I do think that this guy has the one, maybe 1.5 years left. I'm not giving him more than that, but that's enough in Dynasty to still have him in the top 5 just because of how good he is during that year and a half, But Kyren, Hall, Gibbs, Bijan, Achane, some would say JT, that's going to make for one fantastic Dynasty running back video. And if you don't know, go check out my Dynasty channel, which is youtube.com/Dynasty Fantasy Football. We'll be doing Dynasty shows every single freaking day on the Dynasty channel. Go forward. That's my New Year's resolution, is to make the Dynasty channel as big as the main channel. So we're going to go just for, I don't know, just because we got to rank one over the other, I'm going to go Hall, then Gibbs. That's a fantastic looking top 4 right there. McCaffrey, Kyren, Hall, Gibbs, top 10 running backs 2024. I love all 4. I love all 4. That's why it's so funny that there's some little random Roger is going to come in here and go, Smitty, we don't take anybody but Christian McCaffrey in the first round as an RB. RBs are just not reliable. Come on, bro. Nobody's reliable. Nobody. Bob, who's next, man? Who's next? Is it the man everybody hates? The man with the master plan? The man that we said was going to win leagues and he won leagues in week 17 at the final go? Is this man who, whenever he's on the field, he rips off 8 to 10 yards per carry, the Jamal Charles type average in terms of running backs, that 7, 8, 9 yards per carry running back? He's an absolute magician with the football in his hand. He's a track star. It's unbelievable how much hate he gets. Is he going to be 5? Is Bijan going to have the Arthur Smith situation out of the way? I'd probably say I'm going Achane. Going Achane at the 5 spot. You can laugh all you want, and you can hate on him. You can say he got lucky. And Mostert's still in this conversation. He's 32 years old, though, in 2024. And I know that everyone's going to want to say it doesn't matter. The mileage is low on him. But, 32-year-old running backs are not top 5 running backs. It's just not something you can count on any sort of level whatsoever. And he's had an injury history that he felt like he kind of shook loose in 2023, although he wasn't there in week 17 for you, and he was banged up leading in. I don't care if he was able to stave off injury at 31. Very impressive, because you're older, your body breaks down as you get older, and for him to stave off injury that year out of all years, the high volume year, the 31 age season, unbelievable. Like, let's give Mostert his flowers. I don't want this to be looked at as a hater down on Mostert type of video.
Mashed potatoes!
Unbelievable. Mostert was an absolute machine. I mean, come on. But I would say the odds of him, like this situation in crafty fashion, could be very amazing, because if Mostert looks like he's still going to be a starter, but he can't maintain, then they're not going to replace Achane. They're not going to replace Mostert. They're going to go in with the 2 RBs, and they're going to be like, look, we got it, and Mostert won't be able to hang, and this guy will get the call. This feels risky comparatively to these guys. I'll say that part, because there's some ambiguity. But, like, who else do you put right here? Achane for now, Bijan. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 8, 7, whatever. And then what? And then what? Barkley 9. ETN. Where's ETN? Come on, Smitty, put ETN on here. ETN Pacheco. Does ETN deserve to be over JT? Does ETN deserve to be over Barkley? I'd say for right now, not knowing where Barkley's going to land, which is going to be a hot topic, I'm going to go ETN. Achane 5, Bijan 6, JT 7, ETN, Rashad White 8 and 9, and good Lord, Kenneth Walker, Barkley, Pacheco tied for 10. And just to clarify on Kenneth Walker, we love Kenneth Walker. He's a top 5 to 10 running back for sure. But there are some concerns about staying healthy, Zach Charbonnet, the offense, who's going to be quarterbacking. He'll clearly be Walker, a player that can rise and climb these rankings as his situation becomes a lot more clear heading into 2024. But I think for right now, I think it's safer to err on the side of caution and have him in that 8, 9, 10 range, which is where I clearly have him. I'm just not putting him on screen. So if anybody's going to get mad over Kenneth Walker not being cemented into like 6, 7, 8, it just doesn't feel like he's there yet. He could get there. We could definitely get behind that. We just need to see more in the offseason for Kenny Walker. So hang tight on that. Zach Charbonnet is still a big thorn in the side of his value. That's the only way I can do it right now. If you think it's easy, Smitty, how could you have Pacheco number 9? You should be 7. Look, I love Pacheco. Don't talk to me about Pacheco. I told you about Pacheco, but you do it. You try it. It's so much harder than you think. That is my top 10 running backs right now, walking into week number 18, early style, baby. And it's going to change. It's going to evolve, but good God, that was hard. Get out of here.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com studios, it's the Fantasy Football Show.